What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors and entrepreneurs and cryptocurrency, where we feel like cryptocurrency is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, and it's not even close. So, welcome. We're pumped to have you on this very strange day in the Richard Heart ecosystem. Corey, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here. Just truly blessed to be on this wealth building journey with all you guys, where we're going to use cryptocurrency as that wealth creation tool and then use real estate as that wealth preservation tool. And even through the rocky times that we're in right now, I still have the utmost confidence and faith in our ecosystem that we are in the right time at the right place. This is, just going to be a historical moment, whether it's Richard Heart goes and settles with the SEC and pays a $12 million or $13 million fine, slap on the wrist. That I think would be very short-term bullish, or we go and fight this all the way through the long term. And we'll kind of open all these can of worms here in a second. But man, I wanted to really invite my boy back on, KG, who is doing a phenomenal job not only building for Pulse Chain, which we need, guys, and me and Dane are hardcore supporters of the builders, because it's the builders that will carry us through this whole entire SEC thing. If it went for the builders, we would die. I promise you. This is what keeps me bullish in the ecosystem, is people like KG out there building stuff that is useful, that solves a problem, that is product market fit. And it's people like KG. It's also bridging communities together, going out there and touching the other part of the crypto sphere and saying, hey, here's something for you to play with. By the way, this is connected over here. Come and look at what we got going on. He's building a wallet. And what I really respect about KG, he actually built the wallet. I'm using it. It's doing amazing, and I'll let him talk about the updates and the roadmap and what's going on. But what's really cool is that most of you guys probably knew that Richard Heart might have been thinking about building a wallet, and he might have built one, or maybe he didn't, or he had it on the roadmap. But we obviously know it probably won't happen anytime soon. At least I'm thinking. This is speculation. I'm just a dude on the internet. This is never financial advice, and I have no idea really what's going on, but I speculate a lot. And it's probably not going to happen, in my opinion, anytime soon. So what KG has done is he's built one of the first Pulse Chain integrated native wallet that's working wonderfully, that pays you in Pulse when people do interswaps. And I'm super bullish on it. If you guys go look at the price chart, it's done some pretty good gains. It's up since the sacrifice, or the initial, when we invested in it. And so, KG, man, thank you and welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on today. I appreciate everything you do for the community and all the other builders. Like, you guys are like, man, it keeps me bullish and keeps me going. So thank you. Go ahead and talk about yourself. And I know you've been on the show before, but go ahead and reiterate and then talk about what you're doing.
Sure. Thank you for the intro. Truly appreciate that. I love what you said about the builders. I share the same sentiment. I think that a strong community, it does need people out there who are the brand ambassadors, who are, on every tweet, on the YouTube streams. We need that. It's just as important as the people who are behind the scenes building the infrastructure that's giving the chain more utility. So it's this whole symbiotic relationship. And so I completely agree with that statement. I'm KG. I'm the founder of Internet Money, everybody, if we haven't met yet. And we're very excited about have built the native Pulse Chain wallet. And I'm glad you're using it. Glad you like it. We actually got a really cool update coming out soon. There's been some it's going to make the app a lot smoother. So our users are going to be, I think, very happy with this new update coming out. The app's going to feel a little more snappy, smooth. So I think everyone's going to be excited about that. And yeah, you talked about the price of time on Pulse Chain. We have, and we've had good runs with both. And that's the cool thing about our ecosystem too. Again, like you said, is we are multi-chain. So actually, because price of PLS is down right now. That brought the price of our assets down with them. But on Ethereum, for example, we're basically riding sideways. So even in our ecosystem, you can diversify because we're multi-chain. So by betting on one of our tokens on a given blockchain, you're basically betting on that chain more than you really are betting on the asset that we have built on that chain. So it's actually pretty cool to watch. I mean, not cool to watch those red candles. I'm not saying that, but it's cool to see just how different blockchains can be their own micro ecosystems within this greater macro crypto sphere we occupy. That's been pretty cool to witness.
It is cool, man. And talk a little about, because we all like a little bit of passive income. We all like tokenomics and the capabilities of all these different protocols that we see launching. I love it. And, obviously let's talk about a little bit about MetaMask and their swap feature and how you took that idea and gave it to the community.
Sure. So the core of our tokenomics and one of the most innovative things about our wallet, there's some other innovative features and stuff, and there will be more in time. But one of the core innovations of what we do is we've created a token called Time Dividend, or the ticker is Time. And this is a really cool token. No admin keys, immutable, just like we all love.
Mm-hmm.
And the Internet Money wallet, just like MetaMask, Trust Wallet, any wallet you use an in-app swap feature has a fee. Now, we're actually less expensive than MetaMask, less expensive than Trust Wallet. And to our knowledge, we are the least expensive of the other major players. Insert major player here. So we are competitive also in terms of the fee. Another difference with our system is when you're doing a swap at MetaMask, let's say, when you're swapping out of an asset, you pay the fee in that asset, and MetaMask just keeps 100% of it. In our system, the fee is paid in the native coin. So if you're on Pulse Chain, you pay the fee in Pulse. If you're on Ethereum, you pay the fee in ETH, Binance, BNB, so on. 100% of that fee gets distributed to the time holders. So as volume in swaps in the wallet grow, passive income being paid out in form of native coin increases. And this is where people are like, hey, look, hot topic, securities. Oh, it's a security. It's not, because we're never the custodians or the distributors of those funds. It's one smart contract communicating with another, fully decentralized, functions callable by any human being that has access to technology. So we never give money to people. That's the cool thing.
Love it. Love it.
I think that in more recent news that I'm sure everyone's aware of at this point, Richard Heart is being sued by the SEC, and I actually think this is relatively bullish for the Internet Money wallet. I know there's a lot of people that have been waiting to see what Richard would come up with his own, and man, I don't imagine that we see that anytime soon. So man, one of the things that I've been considering a lot with the Richard Heart information coming out is, I think, and we can talk about this. In fact, love to hear your guys' comments in the chat, but I feel like, just like Corey said earlier, the builders are what will make this ecosystem vibrant. We can't depend on Richard to take us, to the moon, because he's preoccupied. Obviously, he's got bigger fish to fry right now. And so I'm really excited about the third-party protocols, and even more excited about some of those things that are building on Pulse Chain. And so I'm going to be building with new capital that I am bringing in. I'm going to be using that. With my strategy currently is to shore up more of the third-party positions than some of the other stuff. Like Pulse Chain, for instance, and PulseX. I've got those holdings there, so I'll kind of just ride those. But I want to get a foothold in some of the third-party stuff that I don't have as strong a position in, because once again, I think those are the things that are the things to ride until we have more clarification around the case and the lawsuit and see how that unfolds. And so, post your comments. In fact, I'd love your guys' comments. go ahead and post those on what your thoughts are on that general strategy. And Corey, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts? And then we'll have KG chime in on that as well.
I think that's a great strategy because it's the builders that's going to make Pulse Chain vibrant and thrive through all this. It's going to be amazing. You're going to have some of the builders and, and some of these protocols, the good ones who will do amazing. And there'll be some bad ones. I mean, it's like anything else. There's always a bad apple in the bunch, right? And then there could be a few bad apples in the bunch. You just got to make sure you're very due diligent about your research and finding the protocols that fix a problem in the ecosystem that have good product market fit. I feel like Internet Money is definitely one of those. As the wallet is amazing. And so like that is going to be short, midterm bullish for all those good ones, right? I think that's where the gains will be had. Unless there's a caveat. Like we already know the SEC is coming is presenting a fine that they're going after with RH. If RH just goes, hey, I'm going to settle this fine, pay the fee, pay the speeding ticket, and then we're on our way, that would focus back some momentum to bullishness into the Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex, along with third party. I don't think the good third party protocols though, that is bullish no matter what. I think it's bullish even if I think about it. Even if Richard Hart goes, okay, I'm going to pay the fine, let's move on, blah, 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 then Pulse Chain's bullish and third-party protocols are bullish. If Richard Hart decides to fight this, well, then Pulse could be hindered for a while until we have, like you said earlier, have more clarity on the outcome of the fight. But in the meantime, you would have the third-party protocols flourishing pretty well over the ones that have the good product market fit. You guys got to do your research. Not all of them are going to do well. Some will do well, some won't. So it's up to you to go out there and find the ones that you believe in and that you think solve a problem in the ecosystem and have product market fit. And to have a little bit of community. Remember, guys, community is everything. And that's another reason why I wanted to get KG back on our show today, because I noticed his community around the wallet has grown tremendously in the last, maybe month. I think it's like in the last month and a half, because I'm always on Twitter and I'm seeing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, KG's getting like the buzz right now. He's the talk of the town. It's like, I'm like, really cool. And then they reflects on the chart too. That's usually what you see when you see all the FOMO and the buzz is when you see the price chart starting to pump, right? And and you see some profit taking, but that's normal. That's helping in each chart. And then once that profit taking happens, and you're able to take off in the races again. That's just how it works. Markets. So yeah, man, it's so that's my thoughts on it. We just don't know, but I'll tell you, man, it's as suppressed as Pulse is right now. And for some reason, Hex is not getting that suppressed, in my opinion. It's weird. Hex is like 1.2 cents still. Like what? We're not even like what? I don't understand that. I feel like Pulse is the one really kicking and PulseX are taking the most damage, in my opinion, if you look at the charts. But if I feel like, yeah, where's Hex right now? P Hex. See, 1.2 cents. We're not even at the low. Pulse is.
It's fascinating.
Hex is, in my opinion, Hex is holding up well. That's holding up really well. 1.2 cents, really? Okay, I don't know. I was buying Hex at a penny, just like a month and a half ago. P Hex.
Right.
So like that really fascinates me there, but that's something completely. But I think Pulse, man, it's getting suppressed. So is PulseX, obviously, and I feel like any news at all that is not negative will create a spring effect out of those assets. Now, as long as you're on top of it and you're able to go buy in when you hear the news, you're probably going to be out and you're going to be in a good position. But don't make no mistake, those assets will freaking fly on any good news. But in the meantime, man, I'm with you, Dane. I will be allocating some money towards some third-party protocols. I'm still going to allocate some money to Pulse. I love my node validators. I want to create more money printers with that, but I will be allocating some more money now, maybe more than I was potentially going to allocate to third-party protocols. Stuff like Time, stuff like Fux, stuff like Fame and Fiat, stuff maybe even like we'll see how Mintra does when it launches. I'm gonna love Power City. I've already invested in Power City, but maybe now I'll invest a little more in Power City. Maybe I'll invest a little more in Time. Because I think those are definitely, and I can agree with your sentiment on there, Dane, the short term for sure. It's the play in the short term for sure, man. That's like undoubtedly true. And I spoke too much. Go ahead, KG.
No, your show, and you give great insight. I agree with you. I think completely. Maybe there's some nuance difference, but the thing about the third party projects on Pulse Chain is they're easier to resist the major dumpage because there's less liquidity and therefore the price can bounce back easier. So like I was noticing on some of these on the Our Time and others, because when Pulse Chain took that major red candle, you can go to basically any chart, maybe all charts on Pulse Chain and that are paired to Pulse, and they're going to have that mega red candle too, like literally at the same time. But what I was noticing, like the average, right? I don't have some stats dashboard that I can show you to the nano point, but my colloquial observation was the average of the third party projects was maybe down like 25 to 35% is kind of where it was fluctuating. And 20 to 35% negative is where it was fluctuating. Whereas Pulse was fluctuating between 25 and 45%. Yeah. So like the third party projects had like a 15% resistance, more resistance to the negative because, well, it could bounce back easier.
It can. Yeah.
So less money can move that market. And I think that is why, third party projects are good to diversify in. Well, good, right? Now, financial advice. This is one guy's opinion on the internet.
Yeah, it's just you speculating on your bags.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, the funny thing is if like Pulse Chain fails, which I do not think it will, but just speaking in terms of how these things seem to work, if Pulse Chain fails, everything else fails anyways. So
that's a good point.
It's hedging. All of these things are layer twos, right? They're not technical blockchain layer twos. They're layer twos in a philosophical sense. Whereas they can succeed or fail a little harder than the layer one, which is Pulse Chain, because they can pump harder, they could dump harder. But if the underlying asset fails, then it would. I mean, at least I'm not saying they would fail, but it'd be very strange if the layer one just was done, but everything on the layer one was going off. I mean, that'd be pretty strange.
It wouldn't happen. That's why you do see all the red candles and all the other layer twos, you called them, when Pulse Chain got the red candle too, because they are coordinated in that sense or synced in that sense. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Those will bounce back much quicker.
And that's and to your point, KG, I mean, it's really interesting. So in the last, this is the last 7 days, PulseX, Pulse, down 40%, Ink almost 50%. But you look at something like Time is only 30%. That's interesting.
And look at, I mean, it's not, and Time's up 63% on the month, but like,
right.
look at, for example, Base 36%, PLSD 43%, Trio. See, like the third party projects are more in that 30% range, and that's kind of remains true. Even Hex, if that's a third party project, if you will, not the layer one itself, it's resisting pretty good. I mean, only down 28%.
I know that boggles my brain on how that's resisting. It's acting like one of the third party protocols where the layer one and PulseX is acting like, the house, if you will, that everything's housed in, and that's what's getting hit the hardest. It's really fascinating.
It is.
It's also because Hex is also interesting because it's a Richard Heart product, but it is the lowest liquidity Richard Heart product. And so if people believe in Richard Heart, it can resist better because it's Well, yeah, it's lower liquidity. So yeah, so you get the benefit of it being that Richard Heart product, so it's still kind of perceived as the layer one, but it has the benefit also of having the lower liquidity like the layer twos.
Yeah, and it's been outperforming Pulse and Pulse X quite significantly since we've launched. PHEX I'm talking about, not EHEX. Let me clarify that. But it has done really well in comparison to the rest of the ecosystem. And so it's really, I feel like it could be a dark horse, especially if there's any bullish news at all coming out of this court case. So it'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds. But yeah.
Agreed. And I do think we're going to have a lot of opportunities to buy the rumor, sell the news while this thing goes out. Like you said, Corey, I think that was a great point, because we could wake up one morning and it could be like, for example, oh, Richard's going to testify in front of Congress, or to fight it in court. And then, oh my gosh, we're going to see Richard Hart on TV fighting this thing in court. Yeah, I believe that we'd see a mega pump right there.
That would make a pump.
You know what I mean? He's
that
streaming. Hey,
yep.
In terms of the people that think this is all 4D chess, what if that's the real? He's been waiting to stream until he's going to fight Congress live. He's like, that's what he's waiting to stream for.
Well, Congress is going to do the stream for him. They'll have it on live.
Exactly. He's like, what bigger guest could I possibly have? Genius.
It is genius. And he would never have so many eyeballs that he's ever had in his whole life watching him at that moment in time. And God, I just couldn't imagine if he won, if he actually fought it and won. Oh my God, it would be so bullish.
It would be so and that's the narrative that I'm trying to put out there, is because you have all these other communities and influencers that they're attacking the Pulse Chain community. They're attacking Richard. They're like, yes, you deserve to lose. And what they don't realize, it's horrible on a human level, because, okay, even if you don't like Richard as some outside person, well, it's still human beings with families and children and livelihoods and bills and mortgages that you're saying, I hope you lose and suffer. So, like, on one hand, it's just bad in that way. But on the other hand, it's every time crypto goes up against the government, unless it's literally an outright, I stole your money and I rug pulled you, which is not the case here. We need to win as an industry. We need to win. Put your ego aside. Stop caring about Richard. Stop caring about Pulse Chain and care about crypto. Because if we're like, yeah, SEC, win this one. Yeah, government, win this one. You're hurting all of crypto. It's a hit to financial freedom. It's a hit to individual sovereignty. You're saying, no, you're not allowed to move your money in the way you wish to move your money. You're not allowed to hold decentralized, in quotes, fundraisers. You're not allowed to raise money in decentralized fashion for medical research. You're not allowed to do those things. And the question becomes, like, isn't this America? And so really, this is a fight for, like, constitutional rights. And people,
I agree.
They can only get stuck on, oh, it's Richard. It's like, wake up, people.
Yeah,
wake up.
I'm hopeful. I think that Richard, we all know the good things that Richard does. Richard is called the top on the day with Bitcoin. He's raised $27 million for charity. He does, on and on and on. We can go on and on. He certainly didn't do himself any favors by making no friends in crypto. And it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious if he's very active on Twitter over the next few months. Does he say anything? And if he does, man, I would be looking for friends. Anything you could do to repair fractured relationships, to make friends in the crypto ecosystem, I think is really helpful. And I think that's one of the things that we can do as a community. I've been thinking a lot yesterday and today. I'm like, okay, we know where we're at. And a lot of the time spent yesterday was like on, oh, like this is wrong and this is bad. I'm like, look, it just is.
Yep.
And it's not useful to say, oh, look at how this case, look at this information. They have all this wrong. Well, it doesn't matter today. Like for the ecosystem, the price chart shows this was a very negative event, at least short term.
Yeah.
And so like, what can you do moving forward? And I've been considering this a lot. So the first thing is kind of like we talked about before, and I want you guys to add or take away to my list here. So the first thing is that, support of third-party projects. Once again, I think the play on Pulse Chain is third-party stuff, certainly in the short term, probably in the midterm. And kind of like Corey said earlier, if Richard comes out and settles or wins the case, that's bullish for everything there. I think the game
everything. Yeah, you want time to do 1000x?
Right. But the only way you go and capture that move is by buying the things that you believe in depressed ranges like this. And so
Correct.
If you're here, if you still think that Pulse Chain and the stuff built on it can do cool things, then you've got to buy when there's blood in the streets. And so that's the first thing is supporting third-party protocols. There are people that go over to Arbitrum just to use things like GMX, literally protocols that people will go to a chain to use because that's a strong enough tool that they like it. And so it was
so innovative.
Yeah. And so you've got to determine and say, hey, what third-party protocols are being built or have been built that are going to be launching on Pulse Chain that are things that we can talk about, that are good for marketing, that we can say, hey, in spite of what's going on with the case, have you seen Internet Money? Have you seen the price chart? Like that was such good marketing when it was running. Oh, like prices doubled in, I think it was like a week. Prices doubled. Have you seen things like this? And I think it's so important for all of us to be talking about things like that on Twitter, on social media, telling the world, hey, look, like Pulse Chain is here to stay. Richard is going to have to figure out his stuff with the SEC, but the builders are here building. There's still lots of cool tools to come and partake in. And you've got to determine as an individual investor where you want to place your bets and where you want to speculate. So that's the first thing. I think we need to talk about what's going on and what we can do moving forward. I think another thing that we could be doing is there's so much negativity right now, is focusing on the things where we can win. Once again, it's just not effective to talk about things that aren't useful. And then the next thing that I have in mind is, talking to, and Buck was the one that nailed this yesterday. I think going and talking to your Congress people, wherever you live, talking to your senators, and I think it's good to be bold and say, look, like Gary Gensler and the SEC have caused damage, have caused harm to the way that many of us make a living, right? Like if you're a builder, you make a living from building on the chain. And the SEC essentially gave the bird to everybody that's involved over here and said, we're here to protect you. By the way, we're going to go ahead and smash the price charts and then try to find Richard and take money for our own organization. They're doing the opposite of what we need. And so I think it's really important to call your Congress people, call your senators, tell them that, these guys are doing the opposite of what you feel like Americans need. If you're an American, and taking a stand. I think it's really, really freaking important. So those are the things that have been bounced around in my head. Would you guys add to that list? Are there additional things or context you'd add to that?
I think you nailed it, man. And we had talked last night. Basically, everyone here in the audience, including us, we have three choices from this point on. There's basically only boils down to three. And when we talked about it yesterday, Dane, on the phone, one is you could just go ahead and exit completely out of your position and find an ecosystem to partake in. Whether it's, you don't even have to partake in crypto. You can go and do real estate or stocks or go build a business. There's so many things you can do with your money besides crypto. So there's one, and you would exit at a probably a substantial loss. Maybe not the bigger players. Some whales might still be in a profit. I don't know. I have to really sit down and crunch numbers, but I'm not going to do that.
But at this
that'd
point,
be one.
very few people, at least they
Who are
got
any
in
kind of profit.
sacrifice rates that don't come out unscathed.
So you can exit. There's your first option. Completely exit. Say bye. That's fine. I get it, right? Option number 2. You stop putting new money into crypto, but you let the old money sit and ride the wave and see what happens on the other side. So maybe your new money that you're making in your life, you got a business going on, you got money coming in. Maybe you work a 9 to 5 and you have a paycheck, you got money coming in. That new money, you go invest somewhere else, and you let this money sit and marinate and do what it's going to do. And maybe that, turns into something, maybe not. And your new money, by you investing somewhere else, whether stocks, real estate, or other crypto, you're kind of diversifying your risk now. There's your second option. And then the third is still putting new money into the ecosystem, whether it's third-party protocols, which I wholeheartedly believe in, or whether it's in Pulse Chain, PulseX, or Hex, putting new money, still continuing what you were doing, your dollar cost averaging, even though in the midst of a bloody bath, right, because of the SEC. So those are, when you really think about it, those are your only 3 options, in my opinion, that you can do. And that's it. That is it. So you need to sit down. Everybody needs to sit down and figure out for their own risk assessment, their own conclusion. Nobody on this topic should be following any influencer, including us. You don't listen to a word we're saying. I promise you, because everyone's life is so different, and everyone's risk appetite is so different. Everyone's financial situation is so different. You can't follow anybody. Only you can come up with your own conclusion. One of those 3 options is good for you. That's it. That's all it boils down to.
Excellent points on both parts. And that's a great disclaimer, right? Because you can get advice from all these different people, but you're totally right. Everybody's situation is just so unique and so nuanced.
Too different.
You got to identify your own risk profile, and sure, maybe gather the opinions, but always counter reflect on how does it apply to me specifically. Let me not FOMO in because this guy is doing it. So that's it.
Or FOMO out because of this guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is a great point. And in regards to the government, I love talking about the government because I just love it because it's so funny because they want to protect us, quotes, but it's so very it's so very obvious that this isn't about protection. This is about somebody saving face for a career. This is about making a statement. This is about like, oh, hey, we think we can get a few $1 million on the budget sheet back from this. If this was about protecting the American citizens, why wouldn't they talk to the American citizens? Why wouldn't they say, hey, do you guys feel attacked? Do you guys feel like you need us to step in? Because all they did, and they didn't just hurt Americans, every single person around the world is affected negatively by the SEC. So even people that don't ascribe to the American philosophy are forced to be hurt by it. So how is any of this positive, or how is any of this morally justified? They are literally exposing that they don't care, not only about American citizens, they literally don't care about the citizens of the world. They only care about their own agenda, which is probably Gary Gensler's career or someone's career, or trying to find relevance as a 3-letter agency. I don't know exactly, but it's clear that the agenda is not the well-being of the citizens of this planet. And so the SEC and other 3-letter agencies continue to expose themselves as anti-humanitarians. They expose themselves as crony capitalists and I don't want to use the T word, but borderline financial or terrorists in general. they continue to attack and hurt citizens. Now, look, I'm not anti-government. I'm pro-good government. Okay, just let's make moral and philosophically justified decisions. If you're for the people, listen to your people. That's the whole point. And the T word was probably a little extreme. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have gone the T word, but still, I try to make a point that it doesn't seem like they have the best interest of not only America but the world in mind.
Well, and it blows my mind. You see someone like Gary Gensler doing victory laps when they like they're hopeful that people lose or that they can like go get someone, and it just like you know it's the opposite of trying to protect anybody other than Gary Gensler's career and trying to move to a senator or congressperson in time. And it's really fascinating because all this will probably be resolved after Gary is long gone. And so you know, like he won't even need to pay the piper, which is a little.
He just
bit
needed to slap someone on the way out. I'm out.
Yep. Like being in a fight and punching someone and then leaving, and somebody else come to fight your fight that you started. Exactly. That being said, there are some really cool things going on in Congress and in the Senate with some of the guys and ladies there that are pro crypto. You see some of them fighting for our rights
people
to be able to use cryptocurrency. And I'm actually really bullish on some of that. I think that we even had Identity Block come on last Friday, who generally is pretty pessimistic on the future of crypto, especially moving into next year and what a lot of those laws and statutes indicate as far as cryptocurrency in the United States. And he was excited. And I think things like that are a really big deal. And so there's a lot of positive things happening. There's a lot of good things to look forward to. Things like this, where Richard Hart is being charged are unfortunate in the short term. But man, I mean, you had to see this coming. It would have been nice to have it more baked into the price chart. We saw the SEC letters going out to a bunch of Hexicans about a year ago. I mean, like it was probably just a matter of time. I think the market is largely overreacting to this news in the dips that we've seen, and it's theoretically an opportunity to be able to place bets on things that you believe in over the next few years that you think might do well.
Agreed. And I would also like to add one point to that as well with, well, you're right. I think a lot of this may have already been baked in because the people who are deep in this ecosystem kind of knew undoubtedly that the SEC was at least sniffing around, right? They were subpoenaing people. Like the writing was on the walls in a lot of ways. Maybe not to this exact extent, but we knew they were here. Now, I will say there's somebody in the SEC that I really do respect. And if you're watching, kudos to you. It's Commissioner Hester Pierce. Sorry if I butchered your last name, Commissioner. But she is actually very pro crypto. She's a libertarian. So Don and I, some time back, actually had the opportunity to sit down and speak with her. There was nothing specific. It was very generalized. She put out a tweet and she was like, "Hey, anybody want to talk crypto? Email me."
You're like,
yeah, I was like, can I actually help my government see why this thing is great? So we email her. She was coming to Houston, Texas. So she didn't just meet with us. So she like met with, I think she had like appointment after appointment basically. And we actually got an hour and a half of her time at a Starbucks. And we just got to talk to her about crypto and philosophy. And she was very libertarian. And she, I would say, mostly agrees with every way we feel. But her whole thing is she wants regulation, right? It's understandable because regulation isn't inherently bad because, like, from a builder's perspective, regulation actually has some benefits. Why? Because right now, for example, I'm an American citizen. I have children. I'm investing time, energy, effort. 90% walked away from my real estate business. So I'm investing my life and my livelihood into this industry. And yet I'm building in an environment that at any point in time, the government can come in and change the rules. They can impose a rule. So one cool thing that regulation does is it gives innovators in the space the ability to innovate and not have to look over their shoulder. They know, hey, as long as I follow these guidelines, I'm safe. I can build up wealth for my family. I can create businesses in this environment. And so she wants regulation not to suppress. She actually sees the benefit in Americans being at the forefront of this innovation, because you're not stopping blockchain. Even if America suppresses us, you're not stopping blockchain. So why not have America be at the forefront of this innovation? Well, so I can go off more about her, but long story short, I do think that she has my support as an individual. I think that she is a very great spokesperson for what we're trying to achieve in the crypto space, and a good middle ground to accomplishing that in terms of the government.
Interesting. Do you know what position she holds at the SEC?
Yeah, she's one of the 5 commissioners under Gary.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'd recommend giving her a follow on Twitter. Dude, sometimes she even speaks out against the government. Like, she's not like, oh, burn it down, but she expresses opposing opinions publicly. And she's one of 5 of the commissioners. So it's like, man, you got to respect that, because she goes into the office and gets heat for it.
Right. Right.
Like, really, Hester? You got to go off of So I think she's somebody. I don't know what her relationship to this particular case is. I don't know if she's for it or against it. We didn't talk about Hex or Pulse Chain at all. So I don't know what her position on Richard Hart is, but just general broad crypto, I think she's very pro crypto.
Interesting. One of the things that Corey made an excellent point yesterday when he and I were talking on the phone is we talked to a lot of no coiners. That's primarily like our target demographic, or people that have done little to nothing in crypto, and we're trying to help educate them about the opportunities that exist here and how they can leverage it to benefit themselves and their family. And it's really fascinating how many of them own XRP. Corey, why don't you're the one with this thought. Do you want to go ahead and tease it out here a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just we talked to so many people who are, they're interested in crypto, but they don't know. They have no idea what DeFi is. They don't even have an idea what a decentralized exchange, any of that's right. But like, you'll talk to them, they never ask, oh, hey, what about Ethereum? How's Ethereum? Are you guys invested in Ethereum? It's never the question. It's always, I'd say it's 9 times out of 10. It's always, hey, what about XRP? Are you invested in XRP? XRP seems like it's a good, and this is like during the law case when it was kind of winding down there, and it was always the same. It's either they owned XRP already and they were like basically no coiners except for that one asset that they own on some centralized exchange that their buddy told them about, or they heard about it and they haven't bought it yet. Now it was like their main point of interest. And I heard it time and time again as we were onboarding over this last year and a half, is that the XRP was the number one talk of the town. And it's only because of the SEC, the spotlight that was shined on XRP for so long that everyone knew about. Like I said, no one would ask me about Ethereum. Like, why not Ethereum? The number 2 blockchain in the world. Like, why wouldn't you ask me like, how's Ethereum? Now you'd hear about Bitcoin once in a while, but like even still, I would hear XRP more than Bitcoin. And that was very fascinating to me. I'm like, why is that? And it's because of the court case in the SEC, and that we will have the same exact outcome. Now, I hope we need to win, or we can pay a fine. That would be the most bullish. Oh my God, I couldn't even believe our ecosystem, because then like the whole world would know about us. They all would at least have heard about it. I mean, I saw yesterday the news made it on CNBC. This is wild. Already we're getting worldwide coverage right before the X documentary. Like, okay, who staged this? Who planned this? Richard, did you do this? Like, here's our conspiracy theory hat. Put the tinfoil hat on. Richard paid one of his buddies to go out there and do this and file this against with the SEC, right?
Plot twist: SEC,
plot
the world's
twist.
best shillers. They're
Oh
just like
my
the
gosh.
ultimate bag pumpers.
They
They pack their
are.
bags. They hit the chart. They pack their bags, and then they go for the world chill. Let's go.
The world chill, man. Everyone in the world right now knows about Richard Hart now. It's like, if they don't know, they're about to hear about it, and it's getting more and more. I mean, if we weren't picked up by Netflix before with the movie, I believe
good
now
point.
we have a bigger opportunity to be picked up now. Will it? I don't know, but the opportunity's bigger now because they're gonna be like, oh, it's that guy. Holy crap. Yeah, let's show this. And they're probably gonna go, hey guys, is there gonna be a part 2? Right?
That's interesting because especially because like the way the videos or the movies being framed is, good guy or bad guy, and now the SEC is like, oh, is he gonna win? Is he gonna lose? It like fits completely within the narrative of the movie, and if this continues to if people are like continuing to be interested, like, ooh, how big is this gonna go? How big is this gonna go? Well, yeah, Netflix is or Amazon or someone's going to want a piece of that pie, right? Because people are going to want to learn more, and they're going to watch a documentary with the guy. It's like with a documentary about with the controversial figure, people love that stuff. So that's pretty interesting to think about.
That part's good, and so it's interesting to see how this all will unfold. In the short term, it sucks. It's like a punch to the stomach. You wake up and look at your portfolio like, damn.
It wasn't. Yeah.
It's it's really weird, man. We saw there were some insiders on this, and I don't know how that happened because I saw a price chart dump before the news was released. It was even in our group. Someone mentioned in me and Dane's group, they're like, "Hey, why is Pulse X dumping so bad?" I was like, bro, don't. Are you checking on CoinMarketCap? Go to Dex. It's probably wrong. And then like someone else in the group's like, no, Corey, it's dumping. And then I went on there and like 4025. The low before then was 4027. And I was like, this is odd. And this was before the news came out. Like, what's going on? And then like, sure enough, and then I pull up the desk screener, and then they're all it was starting to dump. And this was about an hour before the news came out. So I'm wondering how that transpired. Is Gary Gensler the Will Godwell?
Well, that would make sense why he's making awful moves.
I mean, who knows, dude? That's the most ridiculous conspiracy. But man, I'm wondering like, how did that happen? Like where, and maybe it's just news leak. There are certain people who hold big bags that are higher that they get news first before it gets public. That's probably all it really is. But it was very interesting, man. And I was like, man, why is it dumping so hard? And I go on Twitter and it wasn't there yet. The news wasn't there yet. And I was like, what? There's obviously something. Like, did Richard just die? Did he get hit by a bus? And the people would know, like, I'm like, where did this come? And then all of a sudden, an hour later, it's like,
wait, so was it that because I actually don't know this. What you're saying is new to me. What was it that mega red candle was before the announcement, or was the mega red candle
before the announcement? It started before the announcement, man. Yeah,
interesting.
It's very interesting. There was some insider or a little tip off, or only because my group was like, "Hey, why is Pulse X?" I'm like, "It's not, bro. Like the low is 4." Like I said, dude, the low is 4 zeros and 27. And he's like, then the guy comes and like, "No, Corey, go look." And I'm like, oh, "Come on, get out of here." And sure enough, it was 4025 when I first checked. I was like, damn, what the heck? And it was like an hour. It was early morning here in Arizona. I had just gotten up. It was like 6 a.m. or so, ish. I was getting my coffee. I was getting ready for the day.
Getting your coffee geared up for that 50% mega red candle. Yeah, today's going to be a damn good day. Thanks, SEC.
Punch to the gut, man. Punch to the freaking gut.
I do, no one knows how this thing is going to transpire, and there's a lot of FUD in the if you and actually, you know, FUD kind of has two meanings. It kind of has this like colloquial meaning of, oh, you're talking negative, but there's also FUD in the sense of actual fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I think right now the community is experiencing a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And you're not unjustified in feeling that way. And it's,
No.
you know, the government's involved now. So it's like it's an uncertain future. But again, if you are leverage yourself so that, okay, this is where financial advice gets weird, but the way I approach crypto investing is if I lost every single penny on any one of my on all my investments combined, yeah, it would suck. I would not, I'd rather have gone on vacation with that money I lost, sure. But my life isn't going to be destroyed. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna continue paying my mortgage. I'm gonna continue feeding my family. So I think as long as you're always leveraged in that way, I don't really think you can actually lose. You can only stand to win if that's the way you approach it.
I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. This is actually a really interesting comment. Yeah, what happens when the DOJ drops a criminal lawsuit? One usually falls the other. If you get my drift, I mean, I think that it could happen. Certainly, like, is that within the realm of possibility? I think that it could. I mean, and that's where kind of like KG's saying, you know, like, could we be in for more downside? We definitely could. Like, there could be more downside. You look at XRP when the lawsuit was filed with those guys, like they had months and months of downside. I think that one of the things that the timing of all of this works pretty well because we're still, you know, theoretically like 9 months before the next Bitcoin halving, which historically is the time for things to really like pop off in general for crypto markets as a whole. And so, you know, like, I think the timing of all this to occur now is as good a time as it could have happened. And I think that you need to protect yourself in such a way that, once again, you're placing bets on things that you believe in.
Mhm.
And like KG said, that if it goes up in smoke, that it is what it is. But also, like, theoretically, it could change your life. And so that's where you've got to figure out what that balance is for you. And that's one of the things I've been weighing a lot for myself yesterday and today, as I'm like, okay, how do I really feel about how I'm leveraged right now? Kind of like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. I feel like everybody
We just got punched in the face.
Yeah,
That's funny. That's funny.
And I think it's an opportunity to say, like, okay, have you overinvested? Have you, you know, what are you going to do with your money moving forward? How do you feel about your plan so far that you've executed? And I think that everybody says that, oh, yeah, well, I get that I could lose the money and I understand my risk tolerance. And most people say, like, oh, yeah, risk on. Like, I'm here for the gains. But then when you get punched in the face, how are you actually? Like, are you that person or are you not? And it's fine if you're not. You just need to allocate in such a way that you could sleep at night, but you have enough exposure that, you know, that you're excited about the upside if things do pop off.
It's
Great
funny,
advice.
Dane. I was talking to Josh, our friend Josh, the other day on the phone too, and it came up. You know, like, imagine fast forward, it's 2025. You got, you know, 100x on Pulse Chain. You got 1,000x on Time. You got 1,000x on Fiat. You got 1,000x on, you know, Power City. And then your friends are going to be like, man, how did you get so lucky?
Exactly.
There is no luck. You earned your stripes. You got punched in the face.
Yeah.
You went through this
Yeah.
is how you got lucky. There's no luck. And it's the same in business and entrepreneurship. We get it, me and Dan get all the time. Like, how did you get so lucky? How did you make so much money in real estate? Have you gone through the lawsuits we've gone through? Have you gone through being a glorified HR department like we've gone through? Like, there's no luck. They only see it's like that meme, the iceberg.
Yeah.
And the tip of the iceberg is, outside of the water, and you have all the iceberg underwater. And everyone only sees that. They don't see all the other BS that we had to go through, or we built, or we did to get to where we need to go. And right now we're going through that. For sure. Does that mean that we're gonna make it in the end? No, it doesn't mean we're gonna make it in the end. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But if it were to make it in the end, I guarantee you, everyone and their mom's gonna come out like, "How did you get so lucky? Oh my God, you made $20 million?
Exactly.
Whoa! Like how did?" And then there's no luck about it.
I completely agree with that. I mean, just like you said in business, that iceberg analogy is perfect because people they think you're silly. They'll call you stupid. They'll dog you while you're going through the rough parts,
especially in the beginning. Until you're making money and you're buying Corvettes and flying all over the world. They're like, "Well, how did you get so lucky?"
Exactly.
Wow.
They call you stupid while you're taking the risk and lucky when you make it. It's like,
yeah, that's
so you're the people like this is one reason I actually really like Napoleon Hill and Bob Proctor is because they talk about like this 1 to 2% of the human population that gets it or sees it. And the people that are the 98, 99%, they're not going to see it. And that's okay. So you just, as the 1 to 2% of the human population that gets it, then just know that when you're dealing with the 98, 99, they're going to try to hold you back. They're going to try to dog you. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You got to walk into the ring with Mike Tyson and get your ear bit off. You just have to.
And sometimes those people come from your family members, people that you love and care about. And that's when it starts to like affect on certain individuals. It could come from close friends, you know? And so that's, you know, in my real estate journey from being an entrepreneur, I know my network of friends is not even close to what it was, 10 years ago. Like I still talk to some of those guys once in a while, but it's very rare when we go out and hang out. It doesn't happen anymore because my life has changed so drastically and I hang around different type of caliber of people now. And so it's wild, man. It's absolutely wild.
Well, and here's another take that I think is really important. I like to think through all the different scenarios. And one of the ones I was thinking through yesterday is I was like, okay, what if I were to leave the Richard Heart and Associated Protocols ecosystem? Like, where does that put me? And I was like, well, from my time being plugged in here, I've learned how to use DeFi. I've learned how to use my own hot wallet. I've learned how to self-custody my own crypto. I've learned how to do crypto research. I've learned how to identify, not perfectly, but pretty effectively, like what are things that are more likely to be scams and things that are less likely. And I was like, okay, like where would I go? And I don't know if you guys have been in other communities, but most of the time it's just like it's meaningless discussion of like, when are we going to go and everyone's going to be a millionaire from this cryptocurrency? There's no other context. There's nothing else other than hope of when we're going to be enough. And then occasionally somebody trying to rally everybody to like, just keep holding, guys. And so, exactly. So I've learned a ton, and I love the description of luck. It's when opportunity meets experience, I believe is how that goes. And from just being plugged in, like Corey said, back to being lucky, I think the fact that we're here now, being able to be plugged in to learn what we've learned, to be able to have the opportunity to become a more sophisticated crypto user and investor, it puts you in a position where even if things don't go just how you would have hoped or expected, well, you should be able to think for yourself, to be able to reposition if you feel like you need to reposition, figure out how to allocate new funds when you bring those in. And I actually was feeling really good about myself this morning when I was thinking through that. I was like, okay, even if some of the things that I previously been really excited about, if they don't go as well as I'm hoping, I'm in a place right now where I can think for myself, and any new money that I bring in, I can position in other places. Maybe one of the things that I'm looking at for my own portfolio is a little bit more diversification, because I'm too much in a silo in some of the things that I've bought. Those are some of the things that I've considered, and I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
I would love to touch on your community point, because that is so powerful. most people, they get into crypto and they just somehow stumble into a community, right? Like, okay, this is the coin I'm in now. Okay. And you're right. Like, I actually, I actually used to really like the Dogecoin community. People laugh at me for that. But what really drove, because they are a very, very strong community as well. You got, like, I went to Consensus in Austin. There's like a Lambo parked out front the convention, all Dogecoin, right? So like
Wow.
they have, they have community like us, but where they lack is they're like, buy your Doge and hold it on Robinhood. Oh, Doge to $1,000. And I'm like, you guys realize it inflates 10,000 coins every block, right? So it's like there was no, what you're saying, you're not learning there. You just got the moon, no sustenance. The moon boys, the diamond hands, don't, Doge to it. It's like, no, it's not most likely not going to happen. And you hit so many great points, Dane, because and another thing that people get lost in too is we tell people, do your own research. Yeah. What does that mean? I don't even understand this thing. You want me to Google how to crypto? I mean, it's so it's so nuanced.
BitBoy will pop up.
You're right. You'll get a book like that. You'll get BitBoy. But what this allows you to do is this community of people that are DeFi minded and have experiences from all walks of life, you can learn from different people. And I have definitely elevated from the people that I've met through this community. And so I think even if you're diversifying outside of the Pulse Chain ecosystem, I don't see any negatives to being a part of the community. You can only stand to learn and grow. So much knowledge here. If you don't, I know right now, if there's something I don't know, I know like at least 10 people I can ask right now for different perspectives. Where else do you find that in crypto?
Yeah.
It's a great point. Just hold, bro. That's all we need.
Diamond hand for life. I'm taking it to the grave. I'm never selling. Take profits, people. It's okay.
Never selling as they're pressing the sell button.
Yeah, exactly. Don't sell before me.
Don't sell. Oh man. Well, this has been good, KG. We appreciate you coming on, adding some context to what's going on. Talk briefly about what you guys have going on with your wallet. We're really excited to see updates that are going on there. There has been, if I'm not mistaken, Trezor support and integration now, isn't there?
There is. That was what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
And I'm using it now. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
you can go custody your own crypto. You can use the Internet Money wallet. You can do all that now. And we're excited for you guys as one of the cool protocols that I think is really important being built and here on Pulse Chain.
Talk about one more thing before we hop off, KG. You have I know it's been mentioned on Twitter. There's a buy and burn for the Hex and also maybe a buy and burn for Pepe. Can you just touch real quick on that, on how that works?
Sure. So we actually, if you go to our DApp, which is you can go to our website, internetmoney.io, and click buy and burn in the top there. We actually have a buy and burn for Pepe, Internet Money, Time, and Hex. Okay. And so the way it works is pretty simple. So since you already understand the Time token, basically anybody can deposit their Time token into these contracts, and whatever dividends those Time tokens earn, the contract earns, and it uses, and anybody can call the function. It buys and burns with 100% of its bag, whatever the target token is. And so for the other tokens, it's really cool, right? Because it's putting deflationary buy pressure on them. But where it's super, super extra bullish for Time is because Time only has had 2 billion tokens, right? And your percentage of the Time holdings were your percentage of that chain's revenue, right? Well, as Time gets burned, your percentage of Time increases. So your percentage of the wallet revenue is increasing just by nature of Time burning. Because like, let's say you held 1% and then it got burnt down, and now you own 2% of the supply, right? Because it's all relative to how much is total. So you're getting extra income just by it being deflationary. And one more point there, Right now, the only wallet revenue is from swapping, but we already in the pipeline have ideas and are working on other streams of revenue, such as in-app bridging, such as NFTs. So like there's gonna be other streams of revenue that we end up, I mean, we're working towards it, obviously, but that end up getting launched. So it's only swapping for now, but it's gonna be a multiple stream token in its future.
Love it. Love it. And go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you. And yeah, shill all your socials, man.
Sure. So I'm KG. InternetMoney.io is the best place to find us, learn more about the project. If you want to get in touch with me directly, you can find me through Internet Money. I'm glued. So you can find me there. If you haven't downloaded the wallet, give us a try. Android, iOS, and Chrome extension. Every time we release an update, the wallet's getting better, it's getting stronger, and we are very close to submitting for the second round of security audits, which will take us into version 1. And right now we are the only wallet in existence that is Pulse Chain centered and centric, but you can download it and replace your MetaMask because it is a MetaMask replacement, but it's the core, the home ship is Pulse Chain. So even if you're out there waiting for the Richard wallet, well, hey, why not use a community wallet until then?
Yeah, you might be waiting a while.
You might be. So, you very well might be. So internetmoney.io, find all of our socials there, Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, all at internetmoney.io. Telegram.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you so much for coming on. And I know we kind of, we got punched in the face yesterday, so we couldn't talk the whole show about the wallet. So
that's okay.
We appreciate you wrapping it up with us on this whole, craziness of SEC and Richard Heart. And guys, tomorrow and Thursday, we won't be streaming. Me and Dana are off. We have a small little trip that we got to go on. Friday, we probably will be streaming, but right now I'm in talks with Matty Allen, so we might do the conference at the same time we're doing our stream. I don't know yet. If not, we'll have our normal open mic day. Yep, our normal open mic day, but right now we're trying to figure that out. Our schedules are pretty crazy. They're chaotic. Saturday, I'm leaving back to Puerto Rico. Friday night, I'm going to go watch the Hex movie, and so we're trying to fit it in. And it might have to be during our open mic time. So if that's the case, guys, watch us on Matty Allen. I'll post it also on my social if we're going to be on Matty Allen and what time we'll be talking. So we appreciate everyone coming on today and supporting during these dark times that we're in. These are the times that, in my opinion, true wealth will be born out of. And so, yeah, so one more thing. Please keep supporting the builders in the ecosystem. Please don't have the maxi mentality. That is the most toxic thing that we can have right now during these times. We need to support these guys like KG that are out there building and bringing adoption to the chain. This is the only thing. And I don't care if you're a Pulse Maxi or a Hex Maxi or you love fiat or internet money. No matter what you love, the only way all of these things are going to get adoption and grow is by people like KG out here building and bringing those eyeballs to the chain. So please, guys, please open your mind a little bit. Please don't go out and FUD these guys. We are a community of one. We need to band together during times like this and let these guys take the bull by the horns and pull Pulse Chain through the mud while we're going through these times. And then later down the road, our rates could come back and lift this up in the middle of a bull market. Who knows, right? But right now, it's these guys. That's it. These guys, please.
Absolutely.
Amen, bro.
So guys. Yep. Have a great day. Thanks again, KG.
Bye. Thanks for having me on. Thanks everyone for joining.